Hi everybody and welcome to Rocco Baby Crochet. I hope you're all well and having a great week. A lovely warm welcome back to all of my returning viewers and subscribers. Lovely to have you here and thank you for supporting the channel. Massive warm welcome to anybody who's just found the channel for the first time. I hope you stick around. Consider subscribing, meaning that you won't miss out on my next free pattern release or stitch tutorial, and it's also a free way that you can support the channel as well. I aim to post at least 2 tutorials every week and at least 1 release every month is a free pattern for you. So these lovely market bags, they're made out of 100% cotton, aran weighted cotton. I've used the Rico Designs Creative cotton. This is the colour Sage. This lighter colour bag I made out of the colour Natural, and obviously the yarn that I've used for the tutorial is this Sage colour here. You're going to need around 280 grams of this. These are 50-gram balls, so you'll need 6. Just make sure that it's an aran weighted 100% cotton yarn. That'll give the bag the strength it needs to be nice and functional for you. You'll also need a 5mm crochet hook, 4 stitch markers for when we're working the corners. We work this bag from the bottom up and it's all in a one piece, working in rounds over and over. Please don't forget that throughout this tutorial I'll be using UK terminology. I'll put the equivalent US terms on the screen for you as we go along, so if that's what you're used to, keep an eye on them as well. There are a couple of round repeats, so this video is all timestamped for you. Make the most of those if you need a little recap on any of the rounds that you're going to have to repeat. It's a pretty simple bag to make. The main stitches that you'll need to know how to do, you'll need to know how to chain, do a double crochet, half treble crochet and a treble crochet. I've thrown in a couple of extended stitches as well, but if you can do the basic stitch, I'll talk you through how to turn it into the extended one. The body of the bag is a modified arcade stitch, and I've added a little scalloped edge to the top of the bag here and also around the handles up at the top. So grab your hooks, grab your yarn, grab a cuppa and let's learn how to make this lovely bag together. To begin, we need to make a slip knot and pop that onto your hook using your preferred method. And next we need to make a foundation chain of 40. So you'll yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through until you've got 40 chains. If you'd like to pause the video and come back to me when you've got your 40 chains and you're ready to move up to round 1, and we can do that together. I've just completed my foundation chain and I'm ready to move up to round 1. Hopefully you are too. So we're going to start round 1 in the second chain from the hook. So remember that this on our hook doesn't count as a stitch, it's just our working yarn. We're going to be counting back the V's. So there's 1, there's 2, that's your second chain. Now if you prefer, you can work into the chain from the front, or if like me you want to turn your chain over, you're counting down the back bumps. So this is my first one, this is my second one, and it's this second one here where you're going to be placing your first stitch. So into this second chain from hook, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, and we're placing a half treble crochet here. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now at this point you want to take one of your 4 stitch markers and mark that very first stitch there. It just makes it easier when we build up in rounds as we go on. And next what we're going to do is we're going to place 1 half treble crochet into every chain across, working your way all the way along the chain. So you're yarning over, inserting your hook into your next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And you'll do that all the way along. If you want to press pause while you make your way across and come back to me when you are at your very last chain, we'll work that together and go through how we finish up round 1. I've just reached my last chain in the foundation chain, and into this last chain what we're going to do is place 3 half treble crochets. Now you want 2 more stitch markers handy here. So there's my first of my 3, and I'm just going to mark that first one with a stitch marker, and then we're going to go back into the chain and place a second one, And we're going to be working down the opposite side of the foundation chain, so you want to pivot your work as you're placing these 3 half trebles, and then you're going to place one last one into that same space. So you've got 3 half treble crochets into that last chain, and you're marking your first and the third half treble with a stitch marker. So these are going to be the corners of the bag that we're marking with stitch markers, so it just makes them easily identifiable when we're coming round. Just in case you lose track with your counting or anything like that, then they're easy to spot. Next, what you want to do is work your way all the way down the opposite side. Again, placing 1 half treble crochet into every chain along. I'm going to crochet over my loose end, saving weaving it in when I'm finishing off my project. If you want to leave it loose and weave it in later, that's completely up to you. But if you want to press pause while you work your way along, come back to me when you reach your last chain. We'll finish off round 1 together and move up to round 2. So I'm just back at my very last stitch here, and into this last stitch we're going to place 2 half treble crochets, 1 and then 2, and we're going to mark the first out of the 2 that we've just placed there with another stitch marker, and that'll be your corner for round 2 that we're going to work in a moment. So what you can do now is take your stitch marker out of the very first stitch that we placed in round 1, and we're just going to slip stitch to the top of that stitch to join and chain 1. Into this very first stitch here, we're going to place 3 half treble crochets. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then we're going to go back in and place a second half treble crochet, and then go back in and place a third half treble crochet into that very same stitch. Now the second half treble that we placed in that stitch is going to be our corner stitch, so you're going to mark that with your stitch marker. And next what you're going to do is you're going to place 1 half treble crochet in every stitch across until you reach your next stitch marker, and that should be 37 stitches. So if you want to work your way across, placing 1 half treble crochet into every stitch along for 37 stitches, come back to me when you reach your next stitch marker and we'll do that corner together. I've just reached my next stitch marker. I'm going to pop that out, and into the stitch where I've just removed the marker from, I'm going to place 3 half treble crochets, 1, back into the same stitch, 2. That second one you're going to want to mark again because that's going to be your corner stitch, so just pop your stitch marker back into that second one to keep track of things, and then back in and place your third one. You should then have 1 stitch between this corner and your next corner, so we're just going to place 1 half treble crochet into there, and then we're going to take out our next stitch marker, and into that stitch we're going to place 3 half treble crochets. Again, we'll mark the second one with a stitch marker because that's going to be our corner stitch. So there's 1, there's my second, pop my stitch marker back into that one, and then go back into the same stitch and place my third one. So once you've placed this third corner, you should have 37 stitches to work along until you reach your next corner over here, your last corner for round 2. So if you want to make your way across, placing 1 half treble crochet into the next 37 stitches, press pause and come back to me when you're ready to work that last corner. We can do that together then and move up to round 3. I've just reached my last corner of round 2. I'm going to pop my stitch marker out of that stitch and into the stitch where I've just removed the marker from. Again, I'm going to place 3 half treble crochets, 1, 2, pop my stitch marker in the top of that second one because that's going to be my corner for the next round. And then go back in and place my third half treble, and you should have one stitch left to work into, and you're going to place a half treble crochet into that last stitch. Don't get confused, this here isn't a stitch that we're working into, so we're going to skip those and just slip stitch to your very first stitch of the round to join and chain one. For round 3, we're going to place one half treble crochet into the very first stitch where our chain 1 is coming out of, and then we're at our corner stitch, so we're going to pop our stitch marker out, and again into that corner stitch we're going to be placing 3 half treble crochets, and we'll mark the middle one of those 3. So there's one, there's my second. Pop my stitch marker back into that second half treble, and then go back into the stitch and work my third. Next we're going to work along again until we reach our next stitch marker, and you should have 39 stitches here, so you're going to be placing 1 half treble crochet in each of those 39 stitches. So if you make your way across, press pause and come back to me when you reach your second corner of round 3, and we can work that together. I've just reached my second corner of round 3, so I'm going to pop out my stitch marker, place 3 half treble crochets into that stitch, marking the second, so I know where my corner is for the 4th round. And back in and place my third, and then you'll want to place 1 half treble crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, which will bring you to your third corner of round 3. We're just going to repeat our corner stitch again, popping out our stitch marker and place 3 half treble crochets into that corner stitch, marking the second so we know where our corner is for round 4. There's my second half treble, and then I'm going to work a third one back into that stitch, and then I'm going to place 1 half treble crochet in every stitch along until I come to my final corner of round 3. And again, you should have 39 stitches going along here if you want to keep count of your stitches. So if you want to press pause while you make your way along, placing 1 half treble crochet in each of the next 39 stitches, and come back to me when you reach your final corner. We'll finish off round 3 and move up to round 4 together. I've just reached my final corner of round 3, so I'm going to pop my stitch marker out. And again, I'm going to place 3 half trebles into that stitch. So there's 1, there's 2, mark your second one, just to keep track of that corner stitch. And there's my third. And then you should have 2 stitches left, and place 1 half treble crochet into each of those 2 stitches. So there's 1 and there's 2. So then you can slip stitch to the top of your very first stitch to join round 3, and again we'll chain 1, and into this very first stitch here for round 4 we're going to place 1 half treble crochet, and then we'll place 1 half treble crochet into the very next stitch along, which brings us to the first corner of round 4. So pop that stitch marker out, and again you're going to place 3 half trebles into that stitch, marking the second of those 3 stitches as your corner stitch. And then along this side, once you've placed your corner, we're going to place 1/2 treble crochet in each of these stitches that run across, and in total for round 4 you should have 41 stitches going across this straight edge. So if you want to press pause while you make your way across, placing 1/2 treble crochet in every stitch for the next 41 stitches, which should bring you to your next stitch marker. Come back to me at that point and we'll work that corner together. I've just reached my second corner of round 4, so I'm going to pop my stitch marker out and I'm going to place my 3/2 trebles into that stitch. There's my second. Pop my stitch marker back into that second one to mark my corner stitch, and then place my third 1/2 treble crochet back into that stitch. Next we're going to work 1/2 treble crochet in each of these 5 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5, and that brings us to our third corner. So pop your stitch marker back out and we'll place 3/2 trebles into that corner stitch. So there's 1, there's 2, pop my stitch marker back into that second one, and then we'll go in and place our third. So next we're working back down along this straight edge here, and the same as we've just done, we should have 41 stitches to work into until we reach our next corner. So if you want to press pause while you go ahead and work 1/2 treble crochet into the next 41 stitches, and then come back to me when you're ready to work your final corner of round 4 and move up to round 5 together. I've just reached my final corner of round 4, so I'll pop my stitch marker out and I'm just going to repeat that I'm placing 3/2 trebles into that corner stitch, marking the second one so I know where my corner is for round 5. And there's my third corner stitch. And then you should have 3 stitches left to work into, and you're going to place 1/2 treble crochet into each of those 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll slip stitch to the top of the very first stitch for round 4 just to join it, and then chain 1. We're at round 5 now, and round 5 is the last of our increasing rounds. So once you've placed your corner stitch, you can take your stitch markers out and you don't need to replace them in this round. So we're going to place 1/2 treble crochet into the first 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So now I'm at my first corner, pop out that stitch marker and we'll place 3/2 treble crochets into that corner stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And now along this long straight edge here you should have 43 stitches, so we're going to place 1/2 treble crochet in each of those 43 stitches. So if you want to make your way along and pause the video, come back to me when you reach your next corner stitch and we'll work the second and third corner together. I've just reached my second corner for round 5. Pop my stitch marker out. Remember, we don't need to replace them, this is the last increasing row. So into that corner stitch I'm going to place my 3/2 trebles. 1, there's 2, and there's my third. And now you should have 7 stitches in between this corner and your next corner. So you're going to place 1 half treble crochet into each of those. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 and 7, and we're at our next corner, so we're going to pop that stitch marker out again, and we'll place 3 half treble crochets into that corner stitch. There's 1, 2 and 3, and that should bring you back to your long edge. So just like we did on the other side, we're going to work 1 half treble crochet into the next 43 stitches, and that should bring you to your final stitch marker, which is your final corner of round 5. So if you want to press pause while you make your way along this long edge, and come back to me when you're ready to work your final corner, and we can move up to round 6 together. I've just reached my final corner of round 5, pop my stitch marker out of there, and I'm going to place my 3 half treble crochets. So there's 1, 2 and 3, and at this point you should just have 4 stitches left to work into, and we're going to place 1 half treble crochet into each of those stitches. 1, 2, 3, and there's our last stitch for round 5. Like we've done with our previous rounds, and what we're going to do for any following rounds, is we're going to slip stitch to the very first stitch and chain 1. So once you've chained 1, we're going to work our first half treble crochet into that same space our chain 1 is coming out of for round 6. And we're going to place 1 half treble crochet in every stitch around for round 6 through to round 15. So your stitch count should be 112 in total for each round. And when you come to the end of each round, you'll slip stitch to the very first stitch to join, chain 1 and repeat until you've completed up to round 15. So if you'd like to press pause while you work those rounds, when you're ready to work round 16, press play, come back to me, and we can work that round together. I've just completed my 16th round. Hopefully you're at the same point by now and that your bag is looking the same as mine at this point. What we're going to do for round 16 is we'll chain 1 once we've slip stitched to join, just the same as we have in all previous rounds. And into this first stitch here, we're going to place a double crochet. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook, and that's your first double crochet. Next, you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th place another double crochet. So this is making the base for the arcade stitch. Next we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. We'll skip 3 stitches again, and into the 4th one along place a double crochet, and that's your round repeat. So let's do it one more time together. So I place my double crochet. Next I'm going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, skip 3 stitches, and into the 4th place a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, skip another 3, and into the 4th one along place a double crochet. So next I'm going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, skip 3, and into the 4th stitch along place a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches and place a double crochet into the 4th. So you're just going to repeat this all the way along, chaining 5, skipping 3, placing a double crochet, chaining 3, skipping 3 and placing a double crochet all the way around. When you're coming up to the end of round 16, if you want to come back to me at that point, we'll finish off the round and move up to round 17 together. Don't forget, if you want the written pattern to support this, it's over on my blog if you find it easier following along with both video and written pattern. But press pause, come back to me when you're ready to finish off row 16 and move up to row 17. We can then do that together. I'm just placing my last round repeat of round 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 3 stitches and place a double crochet, then my last chain 3. You should then have 3 stitches left to skip here, and we'll slip stitch to the very first stitch just to join and chain 1. Round 17, we're going to begin by placing 1 double crochet into this very first stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. That's your first stitch of round 17 if you want to mark it, and that then brings us to our very first chain 5 space. Into this chain 5 space we're going to place 11 treble crochets. So you'll yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll just squidge them over a little bit to fit my last 2 in. There's 10. And there's 11. So that then brings us to our chain 3 space, and what we want to do in our chain 3 space, we're going to skip 2 rows below. So into these skip stitches here from round 15 is where we're going to work our next stitch, and into the middle of the 3 skipped half trebles from that row 2 rows below, we're going to place an extended double crochet. So you'll insert your hook into the middle of those 3 stitches, yarn over and pull up a tall loop. So it sits at the same height, if you can see there, as the top of your other stitches. Yarn over and pull through both of those loops. And we're just going to repeat that sequence all the way across. So my next set of stitches are going to work directly into this chain 5 space, where we'll be placing 11 treble crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's 11. So that brings me next to my chain 3 space. So again, I'm going to skip 2 rows below, skip this first one into the second one, the middle of those skip stitches, and place an extended double crochet. So insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a nice tall loop, yarn over and pull through both loops on hook. We're just going to repeat that all the way around. So I'll place 11 treble crochets into this chain 5, then an extended double crochet into the middle of the skip stitches 2 rows below, 11 treble crochets, and then an extended double crochet 2 rows below. So if you want to make your way all the way around for round 17, come back to me when you're finishing up. We'll move up to round 18 together. I've just reached my last chain 3 of round 17, and I'm going to place my final extended double crochet into that middle stitch 2 rows below. And then to complete the round, I'm going to slip stitch to the very first double crochet that we placed right at the beginning. And I'm not going to chain 1 at this point. What we're actually going to do is slip stitch across 3 stitches. So insert your hook into the first of your treble crochets, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through again. Move into the top of your next treble crochet, pull through and pull through again, and then into the top of the third treble crochet and just slip stitch. Into the 4th treble crochet along, you're going to place a double crochet. Next, you're going to chain 3, skip 3 stitches, and into the 4th place a double crochet. Next, we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to skip across, so we'll be skipping 7 stitches in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and into the top of that 8th stitch we're going to place a double crochet. Next we'll chain 3, 2, and 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th one place a double crochet. We're just going to repeat this all the way along. So next I'm going to chain 5. We'll do it another couple of times together, and then I'll let you work your way around for round 18. So you'll chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then we'll skip 7 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and into the 8th one you'll place a double crochet, and then you'll chain 3, skip 3 stitches and place a double crochet into the 4th. So next I need to get across the valley, so I'm going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 7 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, into the 8th one, place a double crochet, chain 3, 2, 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th place a double crochet. So if you want to make your way around for round 18, placing that sequence over and over, come back to me when you're ready to finish off the round, and we can move up to round 19, which is the second of the 2-row repeat that we'll be repeating for the body of the bag. We can do that together. So I've just reached my last chain 5 of round 18, so I'm going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I'm just going to skip across to the very first double crochet of the round and slip stitch to join. So round 19, so the second round repeat, we're going to move across to the skip stitch 2 rows below the middle one like we did in round 17, and we'll insert our hook straight into, so we're not chaining 1, we're just moving straight into that middle of the 3 skip stitches and placing an extended double crochet, and then you'll move straight across to your very first chain 5 space. You'll place 11 treble crochets into there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. And we'll repeat that all the way around again. So next we'll place an extended double crochet into the middle of these 3 skip stitches 2 rows below. So inserting your hook into the top of the middle treble crochet that's been skipped, yarning over, pulling up a tall loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Then move into your next chain 5 space, place 11 treble crochets into there, and then your extended double crochet into the middle of these 3 skip stitches at the top of your 11 trebles 2 rows below, and then 11 treble crochets, extended double crochet all the way around. Keep repeating that, and when you're coming up to the end of round 19, if you want to come back to me, we'll finish off the round together and I'll just talk you through how many times you're going to repeat rows 18 and 19. So I've just placed my last 11 treble crochets into my chain 5 space. And to finish off round 19, I'm going to slip stitch to that first extended double crochet that we did of the round and slip stitch to join. So now what we want to do is we're going to repeat over row 18 and 19 until we've completed up to row 34. Now this video is all timestamped, so if you need refreshers on row 18 or 19, make the most of the timestamps running along the bottom of the video. But if you just repeat those 2 rows over and over, when you've completed row 34 and you're ready to move up to row 35, then come back to me at that point and we'll start working the top of our bag and the handle together. I've just finished up row 34 and I've just slip stitched here at the top to join it. Hopefully your bag is looking a little bit like mine now and it's really starting to take shape. So we've got the base and the body of the bag completed. We're now going to work on the top and the handles of the bag. So for row 35, we're going to begin by chaining 1 and then we're going to move across to our chain 3 space. We're going to place a half treble crochet into that chain 3 space, and then we're going to place an extended half treble crochet. Little bit like how we did the extended double crochets, except this time we're going to yarn over first and then we're going to drop down 2 rows to these 3 skip stitches, and it's the one in the center is where you are placing your extended half treble crochet. Insert your hook into the top of that stitch, pulling up a tall loop, yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. You'll place your next half treble crochet in the chain space that's left to the side of your extended half treble crochet. Then you'll move straight across to your chain 5 space and you'll simply place 5 half treble crochets into that chain 5 space. So there's 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. And that's your round repeat for round 35. At the end of round 35, your stitch count will be 112. So let's just do the repeat one more time. So into the chain 3 space, we're going to be placing a half treble crochet, an extended half treble crochet, and a regular half treble crochet. So let's do that one. There's my first, my extended one. Drop down 2 rows to the middle skip stitch below, pulling up a tall loop, yarn over, pull through all loops, and then back into that chain 3 space and place your 3rd half treble. Then skip straight across to your chain 5 space and place 5 half treble crochets into there. So work your way around, placing your half treble crochets. Press pause and come back to me when you're ready to move up to round 36. I'm just slip stitching to complete and join round 35. Round 36, round 37 and round 38 are repeat rows. We're going to do them all the same. You're going to chain 1 and we're just going to place 1 half treble crochet into every stitch around. Your stitch count will remain at 112 for these next 3 rounds. And at the end of each round, you'll slip stitch and chain 1 to move up to the next round. So if you want to make your way around for round 36, 37 and 38, and come back to me when you're ready to work round 39. I'm just at the end of row 38 and I'm going to slip stitch to our first half treble crochet to join, chain 1, and I've already snipped my yarn off, but you're going to want to grab your scissors and snip yourself a long enough loose end to weave in. And then if you pull up on that chain 1, hold the chain 1 between your thumb and your finger and pull firmly just to secure that knot. And now what you want to do is you're going to lie your bag down on a flat surface, and we're just going to mark the centre of one of the sides. So once you're happy that it's nice and flat, bring your work up, and this stitch here in the centre is the one that I'm going to mark with a stitch marker. Next, I'm going to go across to the other side and do exactly the same in the middle stitch over on the opposite side. And I just want to check that I have marked the centre of the bag. So what you'll want to do is count the stitches in between the stitch markers, not including the ones that are marked. And you should have 55 stitches in between the two markers. There was just one out, so I'm happy that that is pretty central for starting my round that's going to include the handles for the bag. So you're going to want to grab your yarn again and your hook, and we're going to join the yarn into either one of your marked stitches. It doesn't really matter because we know that they are both a centre point of the bag. I like to join by making a slip knot and popping the yarn on my hook, but you join your yarn in your preferred method. Pop your stitch marker out of that marked stitch, insert your hook and slip stitch to join. Next, you're going to chain 1, and into this very first stitch that our chain 1 is coming out of, you're going to place a double crochet, and we're going to place 1 double crochet in the next 8 stitches, so we'll have 9 in total. I'm going to work over my loose end just so that it's one less to weave in later, but you feel free to leave it out if you prefer to weave them in individually. So there's 1, so I need 9 in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's 9. Next, we're going to skip a stitch, and into the next stitch along we're going to place a shell, a 5 treble crochet shell. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're then going to go back into the same stitch and place another 4 treble crochets. So in total you're popping 5 treble crochets into the one stitch. So there's my 4th, and there's my 5th. Next, you're going to skip a stitch, and into the next stitch along you're going to place a double crochet, skip a stitch, and then place a 5 treble shell into the next stitch along. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. Skip a stitch, and into the next stitch along place a double crochet, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch along place your shell, so 5 treble crochets, and you're going to repeat that until you've got 10 shells going across the front of this bag. So if you want to press pause while you work your 10 shell stitches, so you are placing 5 treble crochets, skipping a stitch, placing a double crochet, skipping a stitch, placing a 5 treble crochet shell until you've got 10 shells running across the front. At that point, if you want to come back to me, and we'll continue working the round. So I've just worked my 10 shells going across the front, and I'm just going to finish off this last shell by skipping one and placing a double crochet into that stitch. Next, we're going to place 1 double crochet into the next 17 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can pop the stitch marker out. It was just to make sure that we had the centre point for joining. There's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and there's 17 double crochets. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to place 10 shells going along this long edge. So we're going to skip a stitch, and into the next stitch along place our 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip a stitch and place another double crochet. Skip a stitch and then place another 5 treble crochet shell. 1, and you'll repeat this until you've got 10 shells. So if you want to press pause until you get to that point, and then we can finish the round off together. I've just placed my 10th shell. I'm going to skip a stitch and place 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and you should have 7 stitches remaining, and you're going to place 1 double crochet in each of those 7 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's my last one, 7. You're then going to slip stitch to your very first double crochet of the round. Don't mix it up with your chain 1. Make sure you're going into your first official stitch and slip stitch to join and chain 1. For round 40, we're going to begin making the handles in this round, and what we're going to do into the first 9 stitches, starting here where our chain 1 is coming out of, we're going to place 1 double crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Once you've placed your 9th double crochet, we're going to chain 60. So this is going to be the handle of the bag. But what we're going to do on our next round is we're going to be working into these chains. So you want to make sure that your chains are nice and loose. Don't do them over tight, because you're going to have problems working your stitches into them on the next round. So keep your tension nice and relaxed and make 60 loose chains. 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to press pause while you make your 60 chains and come back to me when you're ready to join it on the other side. So I've just worked my 60 chains. I've skipped the 10 cluster stitches or the shell stitches that go across the front, and I'm going to attach back into my very first double crochet here just after my last shell stitch. So you're just going to insert your hook into that first double crochet and place a double crochet in there. Next, what you want to do is place 1 double crochet in the next 17 stitches, and that will bring you to the last double crochet just before your next shell stitch. So if you'd like to press pause while you make your way along this edge, placing 1 double crochet into the top of every double crochet underneath it, and when you've placed your last one here, so you should have 17 from this point, press play and come back to me. Once you've placed that last double crochet, you're going to go ahead and loosely chain another 60, and this is your second bag handle. So if you want to press pause while you chain your 60, remember to keep them nice and loose. We're working stitches into them into the next round. Press play when you're ready to join it, and we'll finish off this round together. So I've just finished my chain of 60 for my second bag handle, and I'm going to skip across to my next double crochet after my 10 shell stitches. Insert my hook into that first double crochet, and you should have 8 stitches left to work into. We're just going to place 1 double crochet into each of those 8 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. What we're going to do now is we're going to slip stitch to our very first double crochet of the round just to join, and again we'll chain 1. Round 41 of our bag, we're going to start in this first stitch where our chain 1 is coming out of, and we're going to place a double crochet. We're going to place 1 double crochet in every stitch and every chain stitch that's going around the top of our bag, and that should be a stitch count total of 155. So count your stitches, make sure that your stitch count is correct. I'm just coming up to the end of my first set of double crochets. So that's my last double crochet stitch worked into, and I'll just start off this chain with you. I like to go underneath the top 2 loops, so I insert my hook underneath those of each chain and place a double crochet. So we did 60, so make sure that you're double crocheting into every chain as you go along the handle. Hopefully you did your chains nice and loose to make it that bit easier to get your hook into them. It is a little bit fiddly, but it's definitely worth it in the end, and it gives that bit more strength to the bag as well. If we did 60 stitches just around the chains, it may look a bit looser as well, and because of the scalloped edging around the top of the bag, we need the stitch count to be correct. So take your time, work your way around, come back to me when you're ready to move up to round 42, and we can do that together. I'm just finishing off row 41, and I'm going to slip stitch to my very first double crochet just to join, chain 1, and round 42 is just a round of double crochet. You place 1 double crochet in every stitch around. Your stitch count will remain the same at 155. When you're ready to move up to the final round, which is round 43, and that's where we do the final scalloped edge, press play and come back to me at that point. I've just reached the end of round 42, and I'm going to slip stitch to my very first double crochet to join, and then we'll chain 1. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed this free pattern. It just means that you won't miss out on my next free release, and it also really supports Rico Baby Crochet as well. So what we're going to do now is work the scallop edging around the top of the bag. So this is our very last round, and into the first stitch you're going to place a double crochet, the same stitch that your chain 1 is coming out of. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch we're going to place a shell stitch, similar to what we did just a few rows below, but this time we're going to place 7 treble crochets into that stitch. So we're skipping 2, and into the third stitch along we're placing 7 treble crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's our last one for 7. You're then going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the third one along, place a double crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way around for the top of the bag, skipping 2 stitches and place a 7 treble crochet shell, skip 2, place a double crochet, skip 2, shell, skip 2 double crochet. Meet me back when you're coming up to the end of round 43. We'll finish off the project together. Just place my last shell stitch of round 43, and what you should have left is 1 stitch, and then these are where we've slip stitched and joined. You're going to skip over those and slip stitch to your very first double crochet of the round, just to complete that round off. You'll then want to chain 1 and grab your scissors and cut yourself off a long enough loose end for you to weave in. You'll just pull up on that chain 1, secure the chain 1 between your thumb and your finger and pull firmly on that loose end. Your market bag should now be finished. The only job that we've got left to do, it's a little bit too big to get it all into one shot. The only job that you've got left to do is to weave in your loose ends, so I'll let you go ahead and do that. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and the bell notification so that you don't miss out on my next free pattern release, and it's also a free way that you can support the channel. So take care, have a great week, happy hooking, and I'll see you real soon. Bye!